Okay. Ah, yes. Here we go.
Oh shit, you know
All
what?
right. So this is where I started. So the story thus far, I play in 2 locals a month, usually Caliburst and NorCal Dogfights. And the player base for Guilty Gear is small enough that I usually run into the same folks multiple times. So what you're going to see here is the top 8. What you don't get to see is me getting sent to losers by Angry Black, who's a Johnny player that you'll see much more of later. He's beaten me in tournament before, and we've played a bunch of casuals, and he tends to blow me up in casuals. So I knew that going into that set with him that I need to work on some Johnny stuff. But we'll get there. What up, Gekitsu? Thanks for coming through. So first, I'm in losers for the entirety of this tournament run. You're gonna get to see me look pretty good as I run my way up through losers. Yay me! We should celebrate moments where we get to look good on stream. They do not happen that often, especially for Chipp players. So we're gonna watch a bunch of matches, and then we'll get to the focal point. But let's start with the fun stuff.
Yeah.
There we go. What up, Shablumps? So here, the title cards have yet to be updated. Here is me playing against a local Ramlethal player named Nuclear Papaya. It's a good-ass name. I have played against him before in tournament, and I think twice in the last Caliburst that I played him, and beat him both times. So I'm going into this feeling pretty confident.
It's almost as good as Blue Eyes White Privilege.
This matchup is a little tricky for Chipp. It's not the worst. The main thing I just need to pay attention to is to not be right under her, because that's how you get jump hard slashed in the face.
Okay, Chipp.
But I remember from the last time I played him that I don't have to be particularly respectful towards him in neutral. That was a missed YRC Gamma Blade.
Chipp's matchups.
We'll turn this down a little bit.
He used to be dominant. They still really don't.
But yeah, I'm not terribly worried about this matchup because the last two, when I played him last, I won fairly easily. What up, Sora? And so I'm mostly just going into this trying to be aggressive and not give him a chance to play the game he wants to play. The way this matchup works is essentially if Ram can get that hit in neutral, then she's scary because she can corner carry into her high-low mix-up in the corner, which is not great and will usually kill Chipp. But I should make it pretty hard for her to get that first hit. Now this is exactly what I'm worried about. But I've played Ram enough to know that they really want to do their thing. I got lucky he dropped his set play there. But I know her buttons aren't that great. And I should be able to play the game I want to play in neutral.
Reset.
I also know that Nuclear Papaya just doesn't do that great under pressure, and so if I keep going in, things will work out for me more often than not. That right there is actually something that I did. So I did drop the combo, which sucks. But that right there, that 6P is actually something that I've been trying to get better at, is just calling out the poorly timed jump hard slashes. So that was good. Took the first game pretty easily.
Really good stuff. Kind of sloppy, but
is Chipp's playstyle comparable to any other fighting game characters? It depends. Normally, the fast characters all play a little bit differently. I think he's like Zero without the godlike combos in Marvel 3. What up, Graffiti Bandit? Good to see you again. Honestly, to me, he just plays kind of like fast Ryu with a teleport. So you could imagine some like Seth from Street Fighter 4 or something.
Don't get hit in fighting games, guys.
Oh, we got animals dueling in the background. Excuse me.
Oh, misses it. You wanted the FTC jump K.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident. I feel like I'm in his head after having won that first match. So I get to get away with shit like that, like 5D setups or Genrozan setups. What up, Mjukis? Missed my air grab there. I definitely need to work on my air grabs. Pot is a tricky character to main, man. Chipp is also tricky. I mean, everyone in Guilty Gear has their own problems, but whew. Yeah, I also know against Nuclear Papaya that I don't need to worry about doing Alpha Blade too much. Yes, Nuclear Papaya. Soul's a great character to play, man.
Oh, nice frame trap.
He's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of shit that you get to do with him.
It's the POS.
Animals, cut it out.
Oh, no, that's not good. Oh, it doesn't matter. He drops it.
Yeah. So this match, I would say, is mostly me feeling good about playing the player, right? Like, I tend to be fairly worried about Ramlethal players in general, because I've gotten set played by a shit ton of, like, internet Ramlethals before. But I know that this particular one is not someone who is great in the neutral, and so as long as I put on the pressure and I make safe decisions, or safe-ish decisions, about like what hits I'm going for, I feel pretty good about winning it. And so I didn't have to work too hard for this one. So we'll move on from there.
That was really fast.
Viking looks very cool. She is also a huge pain in the ass.
Good stuff, Pat.
So Shablumps asks, what is set play? It's a good question. Basically, if you think of neutral as the phase in the game where both players have roughly equal access to various options, whether it's attacking, defending, moving, set play is situations where only one player gets access to the full range of options. The other has to deal with whatever the first player is doing. So usually you see that off a knockdown, right? I knock you down. I have multiple things that I can do that you have to deal with. And before you get to play neutral again, or you get to do anything, you have to deal with the shit that I'm putting in front of you, right? Now, typically what I want to do is I want to make it as hard as possible for you to tell what the right answer to the thing that I'm doing is. And I want whatever I get if I win that exchange, right? If you don't block or if you don't defend against the thing, I want whatever I get from that to lead to another knockdown so I can do it to you again, right? So basically, if in any situation I'm able to reasonably limit your options to a known set, then you can call that set play. In neutral, it's not so easy to do that because you can do literally anything that your character can do, and so I have to interact with you at a much wider range of options. Set play. That's what it is.
Chipp is very fast. He's a very fast
Chipp.
man.
He's a very fast character. Yes, I mean, pretty much everyone in Guilty Gear has different degrees of set play. Ino definitely has a lot of it, because she has knockdowns that put you into pressure situations, that put you into more knockdowns. She can also get a decent chunk of damage off of it, and so you don't get to play the game very often. Look at all these fine anime fellas. Yeah. Kinako is very good at stealing the stream focus.
Alright, I'm gonna go real quick.
Yeah, this is at a local, alright. Alright, let's skip ahead. I think we had to wait for someone. Doobie-doobie-doo. So cute. We've got Art of May sleeping. NorCal, baby. We got an anime scene here. It's pretty healthy. Alright. Stream, when do you come back? Here we go.
Oh, Lucy sent me. Oh, my
Okay,
apologies.
so here we go.
So I got Soul Ascension.
This time I'm playing against Soul Ascension, who's a Raven player from Sacramento.
Chick Pat. Pat Daddy. A resident Chipp player.
Yeah, that's not my name. There's actually a player in fighting in Guilty Gear named Pat Daddy. I am not Pat Daddy.
There's someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I do want to say Chipp overall, that mobility issue is going to cause a lot of problems for Raven.
This, as Rod, aka Hano,
a few tools,
has already pointed out on commentary,
so you're going to see how Soul Ascension
Raven versus Chipp is a tricky matchup for Raven. Of course, any character has to learn how Raven's tools work, especially the stance and his mix-up potential, etc. But Chipp gets a lot of range to move in areas that Raven does not easily control, and has pretty good wake-up options against Raven stuff. So you can see how this plays out in this match. I get air grabbed. He gets some excitement meter and stuff. I make him use his burst pretty quickly. Nothing dramatically new here. Okay, I use my burst too. But even despite having lost those first couple engagements, like I don't feel terrible about how this match is going. I've yet to get my way, right? I've yet to get to really get my momentum going until this part. But I also didn't take that much damage going into it, so I'm not too worried. Like,
Pat going
He's
to
already
the
hit
corner.
me 3 different times, and I
Doesn't
still have
connect.
25% health. That's pretty good for Chipp. Oh yeah, Chipp has the
jump
lowest
out.
life in the game.
So both players about to get their burst back.
So I get to do my corner combo
See how long
here.
this Chipp combo is. Yeah,
It's
there's
not
the
going to
burst.
kill, so I need to find something else
Got
to
one
do.
chance.
But leaf grab is pretty
Sick
good,
weekend rolls
and
on.
also I know that
Leaf
Raven
grab
players
beating-
like to wake up blitz
wake up
or wake
blitz.
up stance,
Not a
and
bad
leaf
option.
grab will beat both those things. Round start
Alpha
Alpha Blade.
Blast doesn't really
It's
connect
nice to
there.
keep them on their
Still.
toes. It's actually not
So it's
as
like
risky as it
Lobster.
looks.
Whoa. I'm surprised out with that jump
Oh,
D. Just
that was
hit
like
Chipp
the
as a
worst
teleport. That was
dust,
kinda crazy.
but I'm still surprised it
Look at
comboed.
that Excite meter. So this is going to come in handy. So a lot of the Rev 2.1
Ooh,
changes.
that was a good grab.
I guess
But again, he's not really able to do much off of it.
And the Excite meter, so it's good to see that actually being used now.
He's not punishing me for bursting. I don't know how I got the grab there, but I'll take it.
Oh,
And now I
that's
get him in
a
the
little weird.
corner.
Guess same side?
Oh, is NorCal Dogfight
Maybe?
next week?
Get Rose on? Maybe
I don't know the
this is-
schedule, but
Chap-
I think
Packers
it would
combo.
normally be
He's
during
gonna get the whole
Thanksgiving,
thing.
so I wouldn't be
Doesn't
surprised if they
opt to use
bumped it
the meter
up.
here. It saves it for the mix-up.
So I
Box
messed
cross
up
up.
my kunai super a little
Didn't hit
bit,
meaty,
but I
so
still
it was a little
really,
easier to
like,
block.
I made him use meter. Things are more or less
Oh,
even,
bad
and now I get to
burst.
punish the burst.
All you can do is air grab that or ground throw, so good awareness of Pat. Not to try
Now
to
I just
go
want
for
to
some
get that
greedy
one
and get
last
him
hit.
thrown. Well, jump D.
He's
coming
doing a
super
really
far
good
away,
job using jump D,
and that kick
but
just whiffs right in front.
yeah,
giving
he
Pat
didn't have his
way
mix up, or
outs.
he didn't have his confirmed
Nice to
down, and
us.
so I get the first round or the first
No,
match pretty
I believe
easily.
This is semi, so 2 out of 3. Manabe 2 out of 3, right? Yeah. So Pat advantage, taking the first one. Round start.
Round start
You
empty
agree
jump
with
throw.
the
I don't know
stance?
where that came from. I think I was looking for the stance.
Trick Pat not hitting any
Yeah,
buttons.
he's
Easy
also
grab,
he's also
asserting himself
not
in this
really
round.
dealing
Go
with
for
Alpha
a
Blade or
Interesting
much.
setup. The smells of servets.
I get to
Shout out
do
to
leaf
Sarv.
throw again, and he doesn't punish it, and I actually get an air grab off of it.
And
And even his his corner pressure,
guess
like
it
this is where
works.
Raven is supposed to be scariest, but he's just
Alright.
not able to
Dash
keep me
out.
there.
Whoa,
So I get my 5D.
Hey. Gets a knockdown. Whoa, that was a little
I
interesting.
put myself in
like
the
it.
corner.
That jump H was
It's not the
sick.
smartest, but I
He's
have
getting
enough
out
health
of
that
it,
it's
but
probably
he-
no problem.
He's staying in there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Raven has a
Jeez.
hard time
Jump
dealing with
2K.
rushdown.
But yeah, Alpha takes it.
He can press buttons to stuff Chipp early, but he needs to have a better
we're on
understanding
set
of how
point.
Chipp moves first. And he's just this is the first time I've ever played this
I can't
guy,
tell if that was
so
5P or 4P.
he had a
I don't
rough
believe
time
it's
with
the
it.
faster one. Maybe 4P. That was it was a good adjustment.
Oh,
I'm so
that was a
essential.
really good
Because we're losing
confirm
a lot
and
of
a
the
really
round
smart way to
start
spend
gambling.
meter. Keeps me in the corner, does some
More
damage.
energy to counter poke. Here comes a glide. The mix up.
But I get to jump out of his corner pressure,
No, okay.
and he's just
Just
not
letting Pat try
he's
to
not
get-
being
or Trick
oppressive.
Pat Get away with it.
I messed up
Alright, there
my
it
jump
is.
install
The stance
teleport.
counter goes for a mix up instead of a combo. It works out. Cornered. Overhead.
But yeah,
And
he
he
can't
blocks.
keep me in the corner. He's not really
Keep
doing
that
that
on his
much
last
damage off the
leg,
hits.
so
He does
that
take
round
that
was-
round, so good for him. I remember thinking
good
that
vision.
just wasn't worth trying to burst there, so I was specifically saving that resource.
All right. Pat trying to catch Raven. Good movement right now, but just kind of both players dodging each other until
So
they get a hit.
at that
There you
point,
go.
I've noticed that he hasn't seen the first 2 Alpha Blades, and he doesn't seem to be doing
I
anything
don't
to
know if
try
Raven
and
really
adjust to
necessarily
me
run
throwing
away from
Alpha
Chipp. I don't
Blades.
think he can
So just
run
want to
away.
add
So
another
maybe
layer
Soul
to make it
Essentials
a
is
little
kind
bit
of like
harder
trying
to
figure
see.
out what his neutral should be right here.
But yeah, at this
fine
point,
until
I'm
it's a
playing
hit.
like I have the lead.
But
See,
yeah.
again with Alpha Blade, he's
But
just
the
not
zones are gonna be
dealing with this
everywhere.
stuff. And so
He's
it's
kinda letting
very
Trick
easy
Pat
for me
decide
to
the
just
pace of this match. So
force
Raven
him
doesn't get hit this
to
time.
keep
This is
on
a good chance to turn it around.
trying to
He gets
deal
a
with it.
command
That was a
grab.
good grab.
Oh,
I get my
fancy
DP,
ass.
and then I go for empty
Top
jump
control
low, but I
right there.
don't land as fast as I
That
could
beta
have.
blade was good.
And so we get the trade, and
Oh
then
my god, OTG damage not
Oh,
quite enough.
there we go.
And 6P.
So Raven has a
take the
meter
game.
called
So Trick Pat with a
he has
pretty
played.
convincing-
This Raven has played against Bears
More than
a couple
combos
times, I
and more than
think,
anything,
because
but just
they
like
both live in
convincing,
Sacramento.
like,
He's telling me he played
controlling
against
the pace
Bears,
of the
but
game.
yeah, he doesn't know the matchup that well, and every chip
Whereas
gets to kind of
Soul
play a little bit
Ascension had to,
differently.
like, flail around a lot more,
So he
just trying to
definitely
figure
doesn't
out where
know
he's
how to
gonna
play
be.
against me.
And sometimes giving up the ground.
The way Raven's
Just moving
icon
around too much
works
in the air.
is it is a meter called Excitement. It can build up while doing a couple things. His command grab will charge it up. Also, if he takes damage while he's in the like "come get me" stance, then he'll build that meter up as well. And then having that meter past certain thresholds will buff some of his special moves, and one of his supers will cash it in.
Also, it's just kind of a free invite for Chip to do what he wants, so you kind of have to balance it.
Yeah, from one weeb to
Not too
another,
familiar with
this,
that
this
matchup,
win
but
quote is
Definitely
excellent.
think Raven has some issues there. Good shit, Pat.
So here we're going into my match with James, aka Orion X Elite. He is the Leo. He's the best Leo player at in the
So now we got
the
losers
local
finals
scene that
coming
I'm
up.
aware
Don't go
of.
anywhere, ladies and
As
gents.
you may know,
It's gonna
Leo is a
be
matchup
Orion
that I've
Elite.
been working on a whole hell of a lot.
Back at it with that Leo.
Shout outs to
And Trick Pat with
Marin in particular for coming through and whipping my ass on
Trick
stream
Pat
with Leo all the
with the
time.
Chipp.
This dude is also the guy who beat me at
I wanna
NorCal
say this one's gonna
Dogfight, I
come
think
down
it
to
was a couple
good
weeks
blocking
ago,
on both
and that
sides
really solidified.
and
If you look at the last
a lot of baiting.
replay review, a lot, some of what I look
Both
at is
players have
there.
access to
So,
reversals.
so this is
Use the
losers
flash kick,
finals,
Chipp's a
meaning we have to win
traditional
3
short
games to win the
Push
match.
got the alpha blade to go through the projectiles.
So I'm just gonna pause right here real quick. Go Leo matchup. I don't think Leo is top tier. I think he has some very good matchups and some very painful matchups, and a lot of learning to deal with that character. Like if you've done Leo specific practice, then the character is much more manageable. If you're going into it fairly blind and you don't know how to deal with his shit, he's a huge pain in the ass.
The movement Leo with the damage.
So actually, before we pull this up, let's see if I can pull up a highlight of. This is one of those moments where I'm going to be watching my own replays, or watching my own Twitch replays, rather. So, let's see. We've got replay review. Right, so I lost to... Okay. I'm going to mute myself. Alright, I think he knocked me out, and yeah, here we go. So... if you look at this right here, this is my first match with James. And, okay, so he has already won the first game in the set. From what I remember, this second game went pretty quickly. The first one I was doing all right, but I got kind of chewed up here. I remember thinking while playing him, though, that this Leo was not as scary as, like, I know, right? So many levels. I remember thinking that this Leo was not as scary as I thought he would have been, having never really played against him before, but having general expectations of how Leos play. So, like, I knew going into this, especially, like, he shows up to all the locals, he does pretty well, that I probably wasn't going to win it, but it'd be good homework. As you can see, like, I'm not the worst in this matchup here. I get some hits off here and there. I think the first match we played was actually pretty close. But, like, you put me in the corner and I eat shit like that. And then I don't really know how to deal with his stance at all, so he gets to stay in there. And he just gets to do a lot of damage. Anyway, so that's what it looks like before. You can see, alright, so this round is pretty close. But, like, at the end, he just fucking mauls me, right? And I don't think this matchup is great for Chipp. I think it's probably in Leo's advantage. But you can look at that, and now we can look at this match. Yeah, I don't know about that confirmed. He messed up his anti-air there, but I'll take it.
Pretty sick. Too bad he didn't follow up. There's the alpha blade.
So the main things that I'm trying to focus on in this matchup right now, based on my preparation thus far, was A, don't do too much 2D in neutral, because that shit will get eaten up by his stand heavy slash. And in particular, I was trying to see how much he'd use stand heavy in neutral, because that was the thing that was fucking me up. The other thing was trying whenever possible to not engage unless I started at full screen, because if we're standing at around like half screen or closer, his buttons are just going to be better than mine and get better payouts. So I was trying to engage from full screen and really force him to commit to moving in and doing stuff as the start to an engagement. And yeah, I'm sure 6P beats a lot of shit, but that thing sucks if it's whiffed. I basically have to either spend meter to wire see it if I get the timing right, or if not, I will usually eat shit, because that thing is like 26 frames of recovery or something. So 6P is fantastic, but it's not a thing that I can use too much.
Oh, James trying to play around, gets counter hit for his troubles.
So I get air-to-air jump dust. I managed to beat that DP. And real quick, I want to look at that bait again. That's something that I have been working on, specifically going for the jump install teleport and then backdashing, because I know that when Leo players are thinking of pulling the trigger on the anti-air, they're doing it when they see the teleport, not when they see what happens afterwards. And so I need him to believe that my teleports aren't as committal as he wants them to be. Now I want to kill here, but I don't think I can. And so I chip him out with the slow shuriken, which is amazing, and I felt sheepish for doing it, but hey, it worked.
Ninja star kill? That thing does 1 damage.
And then this.
That's the wet dream right there. That's the Sarvitz. .avi. Whoa, look at this pressure, that wrist gauge. One hit from line, this could be it. Forces the burst. His wrist gauge is still out of control. This could be a
That was bad for all kinds of reasons.
That's kind of a combo. Hey.
But before we watch the rest of that ignoble round,
Japanese anyways.
I just want to point out, so I'm engaging from far away. I managed to trade here, okay, whatever.
That's the wet dream right there. That's the star.
So as you block in Guilty Gear, it builds up this gauge right up here, and all that does, the main thing that does is it delays the proration of, or it delays damage proration in a combo. So basically, if you have damage scaling in a combo, which is where each hit does successively less damage, this makes it take longer for that to kick in, which against Chipp means that you're going to get some real big and juicy combos like what you just saw. What am I learning from this? Well, one, I'm learning that he's more than happy to just keep on building up that risk meter, which makes sense. And he's got some good confirms. He wasn't really trying to be sneaky there, though. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of high-low action. He was just happy to keep on building up that meter. So what could I have done here?
That's the wet dream right there. That's the Sarvitz. .avi. Whoa, look at this pressure, that wrist gauge. One hit from line.
So I definitely shouldn't have bursted there. And that's, you'll notice that is a pattern. So I'm just going to take that as a note. Do not burst when under corner pressure or versus Leo's stance. If we go back to this pressure, there obviously, let's see, we'll go back earlier. Oh wait, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Just start kill. That thing does 1 damage.
So we're here.
That's the wet dream right there.
I could have caught him running up with that button. Like, I could have probably pressed far slash and contested, but that's tricky, right? If he was coming in with a faster button, or if he was coming in with a different option, it definitely would have been a gamble, and gambling like that in the corner is probably not a good idea, right? Certainly not in this matchup. Instead,
that thing does 1 damage, so that's the wet dream.
I should have just noticed that he was already far enough that whatever he's got at this range is going to take a little while to start up. I should have just FD jumped out. So we'll take that as a note. Because if I had done that, maybe he gets the anti-air throw, maybe he's able to bait it, whatever. But he's not cashing in that risk damage off of an air throw. And that's a specific call out. If he doesn't see that coming, then I can just air dash out and I'm home free. I didn't have to spend too much, right? So the second note we're going to take is look for FD jump after pushing them out. But I don't do that.
That's the Sarvitz.
I also don't know enough about Leo's pressure strings to know when a good time to challenge with like a fast button is. I did not expect him to jump as a way to continue his pressure, but this should have been a perfect moment to 6P, right? So now, this might not be a Leo note. Most Leos that I've seen do not jump to continue pressure. What up, Chamber? Thanks for coming through. But
.avi.
For James specifically, that's the second time he does it, right? I gotta be thinking, hey, I can anti-air with 6P or air grab to get out of these pressure strings. But I do not.
Yeah. What a way to send the message right back to Trick Pat. You got that stylish first kill, but then Leo just right at it. All it takes is one bad move.
Okay, so round 3, I get my stagger, I get his burst out of the way.
Late delay on the... I forget the name of the order. Senchu Rokusai something, I forget. But yeah, that was sick.
Even, just look at that real quick.
Hey, Rokusai. Great counter hit.
So,
Late delay on the...
I get the Alpha Blade, I knock him down. I'm not trying to get... and this is one of the adjustments I've made. Here I'm not trying to go for like super sneaky like knockdown mix-ups against Leo. I'd rather go for safe pressure. And the reason is if I want to go for a knockdown mix-up, he's pretty obviously going to be thinking about anti-airing with the flash kick as his primary option. And in that case, it's because of the way his anti-air works, I can't really go for a left-right mix-up very reliably without putting myself in the line. Right? If I go for like an air teleport or something, I risk getting cornered. So it's not worth it. I'd rather just let him get up and contest with a pretty fast button.
Here we go. Hey. So
and then I get another DP bait because I know this guy wants to DP. So like, this is another important thing to know. Like, you can generally guess that certain people who play certain characters are going to be more likely to DP, right? With Leo, that's one of his only like get off me buttons, right? So he definitely wants to be doing that. And if I'm pressuring him and I've kind of like whittled him down with one or two successful exchanges, he's probably ready to DP. Soul is similar, right? And Soul actually probably even more DP friendly than most characters.
Oh, not that time.
So I still get popped, but health is looking good in my favor. I'm not worried about the stance so when he's at full screen like this.
Letting Leo hang himself. Oh, not
Oops.
the opponent flying away.
But I didn't expect to get smacked like that.
As long as he can get into stance.
If I get my DP into a combo, it's not the best, but it'll work.
It works out, gets the
And since I baited the DP, now I feel a little safer in going in for knockdown mix-ups, but it's still, I'm not doing too much of it, right? I'd rather win in neutral than risk going for a knockdown mix-up. Okay.
But if it works, it works.
So before we linger on that air throw, yeah, what I'm going here is basically trying to win more engagements in neutral at a range where I feel safer and where I'm not sticking my neck out. Because if Chipp wins the mix-up game, great, he gets another mix-up. He doesn't get to do that much damage off of it. If Leo wins the mix-up game, he gets a lot, right? He could potentially kill me. So I want to be playing fairly patiently when it comes to knockdown mix-ups, right? So I gave up 2 knockdown mix-ups in this round, right? I just run up in 2P instead. But what I got out of that was I baited a DP and then got a mix-up because he wasn't willing to DP again.
Oh my
yeah, that was
God.
whack.
What is that? That's like...
I have no idea how that happened. I remember going for it and thinking, there's no way this is going to work. And it worked.
Oh my God.
Hey.
What is that? That's like... TK or like...
One more time. Look at that. Yeah.
TK or like upwards momentum, shuriken, fly up, fly down, air grab. I don't even know what that was.
So right now I'm like, yo, I just won a game. Okay, let's do this.
Sure. We could share. So Ascension, our Raven player, he's going to be here to join me on the mic.
Hey, what's up, guys? I just got my butt kicked by Pat the Flip. I hope you know that Chipp just destroys Raven.
Ooh. So there I've gone for 2 6Ps. And because I am not actually thinking or paying attention to what's going on screen, both of them suck. But you can kind of tell, like, what I noticed that he's in the air more, and so I want to be ready to anti-air him more, right, in neutral. Now I'm looking for that as a neutral option, and I don't manage to punish it, but that's okay. So when the combo counter turns gray, it means that the opponent could have tacked out of it, but they didn't, and so I get to continue my combo.
Nice. So does he go by Pat the Flip? Because I've seen Pat Flip, Trick Pat, Patrick, Pat Daddy.
So right there, that is already better defense than I usually show against Leo. Most of the time,
so does he go by Pat the
before I had consciously put effort in this matchup, I probably would have been pressing buttons here. And yeah, I think he caught me pressing buttons once or twice. But now what I'm realizing is mid-screen against Leo, my go-to is to FD to push him out of range and then look for an opportunity to backdash.
Patrick, Pat Daddy.
So I'm blocking, there I can air dash, and then if he's going in, yeah, maybe I'll come back with a retreating alpha blade or something. But I don't lose nearly as much health as I was worried about in that exchange. And here's where I start feeling that, like, oh, Leo actually can't move that quickly in neutral, and if I'm ready for it, I should be able to cut off his approach vectors. You'll notice that I went for 2D there, which is a thing that I've been trying not to do, but that's actually at a range where I think it would have beaten 5H, and he hasn't been using 5H much in neutral anyway.
2D range.
So the 2D is doing a lot of work for me. And honestly, it's something. It's pretty notable to me that I can get it against him, but against other Leo players, I have problems using it. Some of it's a range thing, but some of it is also just paying attention to player tendencies.
Not finding a lot of success with 2H resets, I'm noticing.
Yeah, and also I think he's watching the bar too.
Yeah,
And there's 2H again.
Really convincing right
Yeah, so now I'm starting to pick off more anti-airs, which is nice.
here. I'm not sure what. I mean, it's Chipp.
Yeah, his guard points are a huge pain in the ass.
The thing is,
And
that
I always
watching
forget
the
about
set,
them, which
he's
fucking
baited
sucks.
That Shoryu in that situation so many times, so this time he just
Yeah, that throw is also pretty whack, but I'll take it.
Nice awareness. Then.
So now I'm up 2-0.
He's 2 up.
And this
This is
is,
pretty crazy.
Oh wow, this is 2.
in my mind, I'm thinking, oh boy, here's where it goes bad. Because I am not this kind of player. I do not go from getting bodied 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago to adapting 100%. And I know that in my mind, one of the worst things I can feel is like I have a lead.
All right, let's see how Pat tries to.
Foreshadowing.
He went right back in.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll try to back off and challenge Chipp's approach more.
Okay, so still feeling pretty good about the neutral.
Break out some fireballs. Ooh, nice.
He's starting to pick up with his anti-air throws, but he's also messing up his meaties, so I'm getting some decent stuff. I didn't get what I wanted out of that, but it's still not the worst.
That's still kind of a bad.
Ugh. And I went for the mix-up, and it got predictable.
Yeah, he's been doing that a lot, usually to get into stance, but this time he doesn't. So I'm trying to see what Orang's game plan is there. Oh,
Kind
yeah.
of just throwing out meter.
this is the hard part.
You can see that, actually. That's something else which I was experimenting with in the moment. So I know I need to deal with the fireball, and I don't want to jump back, and I don't want to give him the neutral pressure. And so what I do instead is I teleport. And really, that should have been a jump install teleport, so I could backdash afterwards to create even more space. But still, it got me out of the way safely, and so I'm pretty happy with that. We'll just put that note there.
Yeah,
Just throwing out meter.
this is the hard part. You don't have to
Ugh.
catch Chipp. He's gonna come to you.
Yeah, I need to be more vigilant in anti-airing that kick. Like, if I just timed my 6Ps and a little bit more patient, I would be doing better.
Revolve around where you think he'll be.
But Orion is also not the cleanest player right now, and so things are mostly working out okay. Still, I lose that first round. I'm not feeling great about it.
Yeah, I saw you do it with those JDs.
Yeah, the JDs, the 2Ds where he was teleporting
Yeah,
on the ground.
right into you. Exactly.
There we go. So I got my 6P there, and that's closer to the kind of anti-air consistency that I've been looking for earlier and just not getting.
Orion got his chance here.
Still, though, it's good to know that anti-airing is... if I can force Leo to jump, I should be expecting him to jump. Because the 2D and the Alpha Blade is doing a decent... And the YRC Gamma is doing a decent job of keeping him out on the ground. Right. Oh, that was whack.
Oh, here comes the
He's
counter
also
hit.
eating a lot of jump dust. Counter hit jump dust. I don't know if I can count on that.
This is rubbing it in.
And I almost ate shit there with my 2D, but I got lucky. So I managed to take the second round. It's looking okay.
Going in with burst. Might see some early burst, especially from Leo.
There's a burst.
Yeah, definitely. Chip's gonna hold it.
Yeah, again, missing my anti-air. That's definitely an anti-air I should have had, but I didn't. Now I get my burst. I'm in the corner,
Don't do it.
and he's about to enter the stance. He's chopping me up. Yeah, it gets baited pretty bad.
Do it. It wasn't the Caliburst, but
And at that point, I'm like, fuck it. I need to get him off me one way or another.
Ryan making the adjustment needed. Definitely.
I did not believe in my ability to get the
Throw out his own.
Exactly.
comeback on that little health, and so I figured I'd bet it all and just see if I could do it that way. Yeah, Orion doesn't use 6P. It seems to have decent effect against Chipp. I know Marin uses it a lot against me, and it works. But if you'll notice, Orion isn't really in that many anti-air situations against me. A lot of the air clashes are air-to-air. And I wouldn't use 6P as a grounded tool against Chipp.
A lot of jump is out of
Yeah, he's super solid with his
was pretty sweet.
anti-air throw.
FS. Got Oki. Cross-ups.
All right, so there I get my burst off.
Good burst point, by the way. After
But I'm still not anti-airing him. Like, I should be catching all those stray jump kicks, and I'm not. That Genrozan was optimistic.
Yeah, and I mean, there are some things you could do even before he gets that.
Run
far. Yeah,
run under
some of
6P
them are
worked.
more
The
call-outs,
Gamma
some are
Blade
OS.
pressure worked. That is dangerous because I didn't have meter to YRC it. Also, I definitely didn't think he was going to anti-air that
Yeah.
Alpha Blade, but hey, good shit.
And a counter hit. YRC still
Yeah. So there again, I contested with buttons when I shouldn't have, and then I missed an opportunity to 6P. You know, it's funny, like, we'll just watch that again real quick.
Second rep head is just not bother yet.
Yeah.
Alright, some good
Yeah, so I pressed a button there,
still continuing to
pressed another button there. That was just a jump in that I should have caught, but I didn't. And it's funny, like, I did not, if you asked me in the moment what I should have done more of, I probably wouldn't have told you anti-air, right? I probably wouldn't have told you, oh, I should look for 6P when he tries to reset his pressure. But I'm watching this now, and I'm like, this is the main thing he does. He almost never goes for the cross-up thingy, out of, you know, going into the stance or whatever. He's mostly just adding pressure by jumping in. And if I had shut him down there, he might have had to do something else, but I didn't.
Alright, still really strong lead here. Orion coming back definitely.
Let's see what Pat does to adjust.
Yeah, he's starting to deal a little bit better with Alpha Blade, and then, yeah, that just chops me up. That's 50%, you didn't have to spend any meter. Now he goes for the cross-up. What up, Rico? Good to see you.
Command dash. He is using 5K or 6K to move forward instead.
I had to burst there. Wasn't the best, but...
It's kind of like a guile technique, actually, which is funny, because they're both charged.
So now I'm getting better at looking for that 6P, but I still, like, I could have caught it there, right? I didn't. I'm still getting good mileage out of JD, though. And there I get another bait.
Just like round one. You're seeing some deja vu combo.
Chipp not going to be able to get the burst back, I think. Like, if Orion gets...
I probably shouldn't have YRC'd there. I probably shouldn't even gone for the low kick. Like, once I went for the low kick, I pretty much had to RC in order to keep up pressure, so it wasn't the worst decision. But I probably should have just... I had enough meter that I could have had a better way to use that. I just wanted to be done with the round, and I was hoping I'd get a counter hit off the low kick follow-up.
Help you out, and if you have less life in the guts, it's like weird. There's like
so now it's 2-2, and I'm thinking, man, this is not going great. But hey, it went better than last time. And then I get his burst early, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here. Ooh. There's a certain amount of confidence you need to have in some of your mix-up shit, and I don't know about that, but but you can see where I have it here and there, right? Like, if we go back a little bit,
life glitch going on. But like, where guts aren't really
get the JD, whatever. Feeling good about the 2D. That right there is one of those things where if I was worried about getting flash kicked out of that, I wouldn't have done that, right? And maybe because of that, it worked, right? That's not something I would recommend doing all the time, of course, but I need to feel myself a little bit, because if I'm always playing too scared, then they're not going to be worried about anything at all, right? And this is a thing that extends beyond this matchup, right? Like, a lot of Guilty Gear is confidence. A lot of Guilty Gear is feeling yourself. And you need to feel yourself just the right amount, right? If you're only playing scared all the time, then they get to do whatever they want, right? So you need to be able to let go and take some risks. It's kind of like poker, right? If you only... if you never bluff, if you only go in on hands where you actually have something, or you have a strong shot at something, then people are going to be able to read that super easy, right? So even though I've lost 2 games, I need to be able to do something that shows I'm still in it. Otherwise, he gets to play the game for free, and I'm just running away.
Oh, Shinkiro, not really good at that.
Yeah, so that wasn't the best option, but at least I have a fast shuriken now, and that is one thing. Oh my god, fuck that. Fuck that button. So, fast shuriken is specifically one of the tools that I've been trying to use more in this matchup specifically, because it lets me get the approach from full screen. And I actually haven't been using it that much so far. But if I do it right, then it should let me apply, like, basically get a free, like, turn steal.
Extended his hitbox. That backwards hit.
Alright, so this is...
Oh my god. Shout out to Mr. K.
That's the worst.
Boom, boom.
And this is something which, like, so this is, if you couldn't tell here, he's in the stance, he hits me, I try and burst, and he counters it with Leo's option out of there, the counter out of his stance. This is one of those things which, in retrospect, feels very stupid and obvious to me. So I've been playing a little bit of Leo in preparation, to better prepare for this matchup, and I didn't know until... relatively recently, that his counter is just a button out of the stance. It's not a motion, which means you can do it on reaction. Like, you can just have it's D out of the stance. You can have that ready to go. You can Gatling into it from the looks of it. You can probably option select it. I wouldn't be surprised. And so before, when I got my burst countered like that, I was always super impressed. I was like, oh wow, this is a really hard read. Now it might have been a hard read because that was a pretty predictable burst point, but it's just so easy to be hitting the fast buttons and then react to the blue flash and press D that if I hadn't known how the character played, I would have been giving him way more credit. And it wasn't until this specific moment where it clicked, and I was like, oh, that's actually not that hard. And so because of that, I should stop bursting. Yeah, so Marin says it's an OS. I didn't know that at first. Now that I know that, I am able to, now I just know that I shouldn't burst there, right? But if you remember, like sometimes I bring up this Machibo Guilty Gear Fundamentals post that was translated a while ago, and it's super good. And there's something he says about how until you understand the game, you don't get to play the player, right? This is one of those moments for me where it's like, oh, I'm not, like, I thought I was playing the player, but he's just playing the game here. If I had known what this situation is, then I should have just expected that he would have had the OS ready to go. And so I shouldn't have even bursted at all, right?
Oh my god.
And like the impact actually of that isn't just like game theoretical. It's also like you could consider it like mental damage, right? If I think that I just got hard read, that's a super rough download that he just made, and I'm gonna feel outclassed. But knowing that it was just a thing that you could do normally, right? That it's probably some tech which beats burst, was enough to make me not get tilted or not get scared. Right? So much of this game is psychological, and just knowing that thing was enough to help me like recover from getting my burst baited in losers finals when it's 2-2 and I'm losing, right?
Okay. Boom, boom, boom.
We got a lot of meter to work with.
So he still fucks up his meaties or empty jump lows or whatever, and I'm able to apply some pressure. I get to bait the anti-air here.
Free chance.
I don't remember if I can finish this combo or not. I remember pumping the motion for super and not getting it, but hey, I get a good punish, and I get his burst out, which I feel pretty great about. Fucked up the air throw, but I'll take it.
Doesn't care if he gets the air throw or not. You get more damage if you don't.
One thing you have to pay attention to with Chipp at the end of the round is both his meter and just
Yeah, so here, mostly fishing for hits out of neutral, trying to get that the fast shuriken out.
Exactly.
I want to play this safe, so I'm mostly not contesting with like strong stuff, right? Fishing for hits and it's working.
All gravy with that. Good eye, Nige.
yeah, all Chipp needs.
Oh, also,
He actually did it. The mad
like I said, I have to feel myself a little bit,
Ooh, drops all right. This is all he needs. Let's go.
and I think I had meter to make it safe, so whatever. That wasn't the best.
See some pressure.
But at this point, I feel like both of us are playing
double.
a reasonably, like we're playing, this is a good match of Guilty Gear, at least for me.
No meter for any options for Chipp right now. Definitely gonna
Oh, so I'm a little late on some of my shit. I need to reset and just like get my timing back. So I'm gonna run away a little bit. Trying to remember, like YRC teleport is just such a good tool, and it's so hard to deal with.
No combo. You're dodging the fireball.
And I just want to make him work for it. I know he's not going to be thinking about Genrozan, so I throw that out, but I still need to finish.
Oh my god, caught him in the air again.
Oh my gosh, got the burst. All right, let's
Pat
go.
on the verge of taking it. Next hit.
Hey!
It's a clutch air throw. That is 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no, 3-2. My bad. Clutch. Pat on the verge of taking
I just want to see that again. So here I actually did the right thing that I was talking about, right? Which was, I didn't anti-air the first time, but I just tried to jump out.
3-0, ladies and gentlemen.
I remember him looking confused. I think we both went for the air throw.
I got too excited. That is taking it. Next hit. Oh!
And I think I think if he had done it a little earlier, he might have gotten it.
Next hit.
But since I was coming up on the bottom,
That is.
or I was coming up from the bottom, I get the throw priority. Oh, nice.
I got too excited.
Hell yeah. Chipp Army.
I guess not just enough at the end of the clutch. I feel like with the adjustment in neutral he made, he did decide to save
So
a lot
yeah,
of meter, and
right
that
here-
thought process probably got him killed in the end when he just needed to.
I am tired
Yeah, it
as
gets nerve-wracking,
shit.
Too. Like one hit away from killing Chipp.
So, as y'all recall, I was getting over like some fatigue or sickness or something last week. I'm feeling a lot better this week, but I just narrowly clutched out and kind of randomed against the specific matchup that I've been trying to work on, which is great. I feel really good about that. There's nothing quite like winning a run back in a tournament. Feels great. And it's one that I work for and that you guys help me work for. And by the way, thank you so much, especially to Marin for helping me with this. But this is something that I've been working for, and I got it. It felt good, but also, holy shit, I'm tired at this point. I just played like 3 sets in a row on stream. And yeah, like the first 2 weren't that tough, but I'm still like, I'm running out of energy here. And I'm going into this matchup where Angry Black has beaten me in tournament before. He beat me in tournament that day, but it was close. It went down to the last hit, which I felt good about. But he also beat me like 9 games in casuals before that. So I knew this was going to be tough, and I also knew that Johnny just wasn't something that I was ready for. There was one thing that I was trying to do specifically, and that was, much like against Leo, was just to engage from further away. So, spoiler alert, I get absolutely dumpstered in this set, and it's going to look way worse than that Leo set because I'm mentally fatigued. I think if you see it here,
Chipp with 1 HP.
actually, I think I asked for a break, and I just need to like stretch my legs and shit
Not dead yet, but at a sliver of health, you've got
because
a
I'm
lot.
tired as fuck.
Because that's like the worst position you can be in.
Well, especially when it's Chipp or Milia. Pixel Milia, Pixel Chipp, Pixel Slayer, man. Those characters, they're not dead until they're dead.
But yeah, I'm tired. I'm trying to go home and watch the UFC. Like, I want to do well here, but I also know I'm going to have to beat this dude 6 games in order to take it, and that's a lot of fucking games.
So that's why it's really dangerous.
Exactly, there's
And
a lot of
so-
metagame going on right there.
I'm hoping that we can come up with some good notes so that I can beat this dude next time, and we can all learn.
Away from their advantage.
And there's going to be a lot of learning material in here, because holy shit, I do not play it that well.
I always want to say Chipp advantage, even in this game with this Johnny, just because of movement. Movement's everything. And
Yeah,
Johnny's
so you can
hitting
see
the
me
forward
trying to
with
play
attacks.
outside and then run in with
When it
buttons,
comes down to
6P in
pressure,
particular.
How much does Pat know about getting out of Johnny pressure? When is he going to be gutsy and pull out the 6P at the right time and things like that? When is he going to alpha out at the right time?
Cool.
Like, he can't do things like that. Like, you're not going to get many chances against Johnny, though.
Johnny's buttons are so good that like
Yeah.
his
So
options
Rod
are
the commentator brings up a good point, which is based on 2 things, right? One is the risk reward of any interaction between Johnny and Chipp, and also the ranges where Johnny feels comfortable. So this is something I did not think about until after the match, but like, you see that random full screen
Things
Alpha
like
Blade
that.
catch
So
a
pull
lot
out
of
the
people,
6P at the right
right?
time and things like that. When
It
is
is
he gonna alpha?
probably not going to catch Johnny as often because Johnny is either dashing or standing. Sometimes he's walking, but he's very rarely, like, Alpha Blade will catch people if they're running at me or they're backdashing away. Johnny is almost never going to be running at me. He's just going to be dashing. And so basically, I think that a run is probably easy, and a running character is probably easier to catch with random Alpha Blade than a dashing
Alpha out at the right time.
character
Like, he
is.
can't do things
But yeah,
like that.
this is not a
Like,
great
you're not gonna
idea.
get many chances.
So, note number 1, use Alpha Blade in neutral much less because Johnny is not gonna get caught by it.
Johnny, though.
Johnny's buttons are so good that like his options
Yeah,
when he
Angry
has
Black has
them,
already
he doesn't have
adapted to
decide
my use of the leaf grab, and I kind of don't respect it.
His buttons are just so good. He
I
knows
like
when it's
if
gonna
you,
work at the right time.
as a note, just in general, if people don't get caught by leaf grab the first time you use it in a set, they're probably not going to get caught by it any time in that set. Like, if you're lucky, maybe you'll get it, but they're probably just good enough at dealing with it that you should move on to other stuff. Now, the way I would like to use Leaf Grab is a way that I've used it against CT Warrior and a couple other people, which is, even if you react, as long as you're reacting by jumping, I should be able to either 6P you on the way down or go for an air grab and get it. And sometimes that works. In the corner in particular, you can get a lot of 6Ps. But for whatever reason, it wasn't working here. I try it. You'll see me do it a lot. I
like the powers
knew
using a lot of
afterwards that I
teleport
just
to
shouldn't
neutral.
do it.
Getting away.
Got confirms.
It's got a good mid-screen confirm.
Needs to delay.
I noticed, yeah, there it is, the leaf grab
I think
again,
this is
right?
2
No
times already
respect.
that Angry Black's been dodging.
Needs to delay it a little. We got confirms. Gonna get the knock.
Here,
Nope.
one thing that I do note is that I can tech forward and come in with jump hard slash. Angry Black didn't do anything about it. And what I noticed is that he's actually pretty passive in his anti-airs. He usually prefers to IB instead of contest. Yeah, we'll see if that continues. I don't actually
I think
remember.
this is 2 times already that Angry Black's been dodging again Rozon, the leaf grab, which is good. Hopefully Pat is getting this data as well though, so he knows that he has to adjust when he goes for
that
it,
was rough.
or to counter what Angry Black's doing.
So
after this
I lose my
level.
mix-up. It's not the worst, but now I'm cornered
Point.
against Johnny, and that fucking sucks.
When we first saw
The YOLO Alpha Blade was something.
Oh, the Zweihander?
yeah.
It's different. I guess it's not
And
really
here,
more
once again,
warlock,
like
it's
he's
just wider.
chasing me. I'm just trying to reset to a neutral range where I feel comfortable because I don't want to initiate unless I'm super far away.
Want to put himself in the corner.
But once I'm running in, I'm getting pretty
Look at
good,
that dash up pressure.
pretty good
Using
results.
that frame data.
A
Oh,
lot of air movement here. I mean, obviously he's jumping now, but the sequence before that, like, a lot of that ground neutral. Ooh.
yeah, and actually, believe it or not, is
Oh,
good as,
I cornered myself.
that's
I
what
go
he
for the
needed. That's all
YOLO
his last
burst,
chance. Can Pat make
and it
something
doesn't
happen
really
with
pay off.
Oh,
That actually,
6H and 6K trade.
if I had a
6H
little bit
on
more
Burst
health,
Eight.
that would have worked
Good
out
move,
for
but
me.
too slow.
But alas.
Right here, I know it's hard for Chipp players to believe. Calm down. You still have 9 seconds. The life deficit isn't that bad. Make the right decisions.
Yeah, that's
Double
another
point,
pretty
but
good
doesn't get the
example.
combo.
Like,
Make the right
to be fair, he hasn't really been punishing my hard slash teleport that much, so I feel like I can get away with it. But we're full screen. I just put it out my slow shuriken. Like, I should just use the fast shuriken instead of teleporting after him, right?
Double coin, but doesn't get the
I'm
combo.
less likely to get caught approaching with the fast shuriken than I am a teleport.
I mean, the level
But
3's
still, I'm
good
doing an
anyway,
okay
I'm just
job
gonna say
keeping
that.
the range.
It's so big.
Every time I've run
here
in,
comes.
well, except for that
This is-
time.
this is
Every
done.
time I've run in from full screen, I've made him block something. I feel pretty good about that.
And all the game really, a lot of
I think that's something I can continue to do and see if he's gutsy enough to contest.
There's a right Shinkiro usage.
where is he?
Yeah, you will notice also my corner Oki is not great, and this is where I started feeling the limitations of it. Like, I go for pretty simple corner Oki, but he's willing to just block everything, and he's pretty good at blocking. I don't get like panic stuff from him, whereas I'm panicking all the fucking time.
You got one chance.
Good block, good block. That could have easily been the overhead version.
Punishing your teleports and
The
not
run up 6P,
See
that
if he can
worked.
force a burst.
gonna build a lot of meter here.
If he can bait it.
No KD, but
Ugh.
Oh, just grabbed him. It was too close. Even though that'll take away whatever he input, he just waited and grabbed. And grabs with what? 0 frames. So.
I'm telling you, they're both at the level. They're trying to start getting ready.
That happens to me multiple times in the set.
But Pat finding a lot of success when he was backing off.
Yeah, I would like to see Pat use a little bit more alpha YRC though. I think it's something that I don't see him use a lot, let's say compared to Barris, and it'd be nice to see that because it's such a good tool, and it's one weakness is people jumping over it. Once they jump it and you YRC, again, you have your advantage. You get to see what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You can't burst Johnny. I mean, that's just unfortunate.
6P
Hey.
the counter hit for the third time.
So make him use my burst, but let's rewind that a little bit.
Something that,
I get
yeah, I would like to
We're
see
running
Pat use a
around,
little
we're
bit
playing
more
neutral,
alpha
whatever.
YRC, though. I think it's something that I don't see
he's
him use a lot,
he's
let's say,
very
compared
like
to
when
Barris.
you can notice he definitely gets into pursuit mode, right? He's chasing me around
I would like
a
to see Pat
lot.
use a little bit more alpha YRC though. I think it's something that
Like
I don't see
he
him
dashed
use a lot,
5
let's say, compared
times
to
there. He
Barris,
probably
and
built
it'd
a
be nice
shit ton of
to see that,
meter.
'cause it's such a good tool, and it's one weakness is people jumping over it. Once they jump it and you YRC, again, you have your advantage.
Yeah, so I pressed a button and then I
You can't
bursted.
burst Johnny.
Neither of those were things that I
That's
should do there.
something. And it's one weakness is people jumping over
If you
it.
look at that
Once they
again.
jump it and you YRC, again, you have your advantage. You get to see what they're gonna do. You can't burst Johnny. I mean, that's just unfortunate.
6P
Hey.
Yeah.
hit for the third time.
I don't feel too bad about going for the overhead. It got me what I wanted, which
I
was
don't
his
know if
burst.
he landed and recovered and hit another.
It wasn't
button.
the best.
Almost counter hit. I believe this is not good.
We got Messi. We got goes for the corner.
Oh wow,
Reset.
jump K.
Oh, dropped my combo, but I go back in.
He's counter hit him out.
Yeah, he's also so he's pressing buttons on defense.
Drawed out. Nice.
Oh, doesn't get the
Doesn't get my
Either
my
timing
leaf
issue,
grab,
we're still in stun.
but again, not the worst.
Little shimmy.
He's good with his throws. So the note here is FD Johnny corner pressure and try to jump out. Be ready with 6P. So the other Guilty Gear educational material I constantly reference is the Leo countermeasures doc, and if you look deep within it, they have the concept of defending as equipping materia, which is basically when you're defending against a character like Leo or Johnny, you can't look for everything. You may have an answer for everything, but you can't look for and react to every single option. So instead, you just got to pick a couple options and be ready to look for those and react with the right answer. And they refer to it as equipping materia because like the idea is that whatever you're looking for is essentially the materia that you're equipping for this defense. What I should be doing when I'm blocking Johnny is to equip my FD jump materia, right? Just get the fuck out of there safely, right? And if I'm looking for one thing, it should probably be a 6P option. If I can look for like his 6K, I think I can 6P that. There are probably some other buttons that I can 6P. I should test those out, certainly. But if I'm ready with those two things, then everything else I should probably just be blocking and waiting for an opportunity to do something that beats one of those two things.
Classic Johnny throw. You think he's just going to hit buttons, but nope. And then when you think he's going to throw, he just hits CS.
Go close slash, yeah.
So I'm sorry, close slash.
Counter strike. Hey, Johnny at level 3 already?
Yeah, I pressed buttons there and it worked, but again, not the thing to do.
This could be big. A little risk meter. And yeah, this
And I like, that was just, I should have blocked that. I knew he was going to go for those high attacks, but blah.
Is awareness of what happened.
Wow, wake up blitz. And then
I did feel pretty good about that, though.
Angry Black also lost a meter on his failed blitz as well.
Oh, and then I put myself in the corner. I tried to RC that, but for some reason it didn't come out. I think I fucked it up. So I do it again. But at this point, I'm like, yeah, this is fucked. I already know, I'm pretty confident in my ability to lose that round. So we're going in. I need to win 3 games in a row just to stay alive. I think this match, my fatigue is pretty obvious.
I guess he just has to apply it.
Let's see if he can adjust.
Let's see that adaption and neutral I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, so he feels very comfortable on the ground. You can see him dashing around a lot. He's not really pressing that many buttons. To be honest, I don't really know how to deal with this because I feel like the risk reward here for Chipp, like pressing buttons, is usually a bad idea. Now, of course, like I said, I can't play too scared. Like here, I'm looking okay. But my takeaway honestly for here is, like, I need to see how better Chipps than I contest the ground against Johnny. Because my answer has just been to run away and try and find a safe range, and that's not working. That's a good note. Run away works sometimes, but pay attention to when Johnny feels too
Gotta make that mix up tighter. It's not working
yeah,
out.
I tried to RC that. I missed the window or something, and so I die.
Not bet at all on that, and it did not work. So yeah,
Don't bet at all. Don't bet at all right
yeah,
there.
game point right here.
This is the net play. Dash up throw gets working again. Out of burst. Next
Not a good
possible point.
not a good situation.
I believe he just missed the point RPGs.
Unfortunately, running away doesn't build meter.
Johnny only at level 2, I believe.
Yeah. It's vital that Chipp challenges him in the right spots. Oh, that was good. Late hit.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to let Johnny keep that neutral. Like, you want to try to bait it out, or the level 3.
Wow, that was a sick
Oh.
miscancel combo.
What up, Boba T and me? Good to see you again. Thanks for coming through.
To work with, though.
But he cannot get anti-aired or poked out right here.
Don't try to throw him. Just
Gamma +5.
Ooh.
gets the stagger. Ooh, why'd you reset?
Yeah, he was super on point with dodging that Genrozan. In retrospect,
that was
like,
interesting. Testing Angry Black at that.
and I knew this while I was playing, I was like, I should stop going for
Again,
Genrozan
betting it
and
on
just
bad
do
moves.
run-up throw instead, because
not
that's
good on
much
instant
harder to
block.
react to. And you can see, like,
Yes.
most of my running up, the first run-up from full screen
Aye.
works well. It's just if I try and steal pressure
It's
through
really
running up,
hard
that's
to
not
burst
working
Johnny
out
until
so
he goes
well
into the
for me.
special move, and even then.
So yeah,
All
I
is
got
on
clean
position.
3-0'd in
Yeah,
grand
Angry Black
finals.
with a great convincing 3-0.
I came away from it feeling, hey, I won the match that I wanted to win, and I've got some notes now up here for ways that I can win that better. And I was super happy with that. Like, I'm not a tournament winner in general. I do not win tournaments. But I try to celebrate my successes where I get them, and winning against people who have beaten me in tournament before is one of those things that just will never stop feeling good. So I felt pretty happy about that. I was like, hey, this is measurable progress. Wasn't the best, but I pulled it out. And now I gotta work on Johnny. So that will be the next chunk of work that I do. I've got some things that I can work on up here. which is super cool. I'm going to go ahead and just paste these so I don't lose them. And what we're going to do... So I think I've shown you folks my training notes in the past. What I have is essentially this is like a day-to-day notes doc, right? Where I keep shit in here. So like you can see, these are my notes from the last replay, or I think this is 2 replay reviews ago, against Daemendo. If I see, like, if I'm watching Bears stream or if I'm watching some videos and I see cool shit, then I'll take notes here. What I've got here, so I'll add a new line. So these are all notes, and sometimes they're questions that need answering, right? For the most part, it's sometimes it's like it's just matchup specific notes. And so what I do is I put them in here, and I kind of try and make sense of them, right? And I usually don't do this next part on stream, but I have a matchup notes spreadsheet that is shared with all Chipp players in the Discord, but it's mostly my notes. I think Bears and a couple other folks have put theirs in. But like against Johnny, what do I have here? Yeah, so there's not much, and most of this is coming from net play. There are some useful things, right? Like Johnny hates being pressured, so I should try and bait out the blitz early. I know that sitting under Johnny is not a place I normally want to be. I usually like being underneath people because I can go for 2H and get a counter hit, or I can go for anti-air throw, but Zweihander will just fuck me up, right? Also, I should not use Gamma Blade as much because his 2H, Johnny's 2H, will just kind of skip over it, right? And I knew that I needed to watch out for the Zweihander YRC approach, which is why you see me running away so much, right? So I have some stuff here. It's a decent starting point. But what I need to do is I'll take these matchup notes and I'll probably augment them with some more study to try and get ideas for more notes that I can take, and then I can add them to that document so that the next time I play, I'll go into it knowing, hey, this is the shit that I need to have on my brain. This is the materia that I need to equip, right? And as this document grows, this is essentially the manifestation of my Guilty Gear play getting better and better, which is super cool. It feels very rewarding to add new stuff to these documents. And I highly recommend doing this kind of shit as a way to track your progress. One, because it's impossible to just keep all this stuff in your head indefinitely, especially if you're playing online matches where like you may not have consistent opponents, right? Maybe you play 30 games against a jam, and then you don't see jam for 2 months. You may not be able to apply the lessons you learned in those 30 games against the next jam that you fight. And so having the note stock helps keep a sense of continuity, right? But it also just feels good. Like, we know that ranking points don't matter. We know that tournament results are highly variable. That's just the way tournaments work. And so having this as this, like, the thing which makes me feel like that I'm actually growing as a player does a lot to keep me motivated. Rico says, make sure you lab dealing with IB button into Zweihander YRC mix-up. To be honest, that's a thing that I should lab. I probably won't. Dealing with specific... So, I am not a lab player in Guilty Gear. I fucking hate using training mode. I hate recording shit. It is not how I like to learn, and it's not how I like to play. As much as I say that folks should spend time in training mode, I am not about that lab life. It's not how I play the game. It's not how I play Chipp. So I know I should do that. That would be the optimal way to get better, but it's probably not how I'm going to get better. I do appreciate the suggestion, though. And so with that, I'm going to grab some water real quick, and then I'll be back to play some video games.